Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about reigniting DeFi on Moonbeam and also why decentralization matters. So my name is Luke Youngblood. I'm a founding contributor at Moonwell, and I'm really excited to be here at the Illuminate conference. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers today. It's an amazing roster, and I'm just proud to be a part of that and to give one of the keynote addresses for the Illuminate 2022 conference. So let's jump right in. So what is Moonwell? Moonwell is an open lending and borrowing protocol on Moonbeam and Moonriver. And so the way you can kind of think of it working, if you haven't used it before, is if you have a digital asset like Glimmer, which is the native Moonbeam token, or Polkadot, or Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can supply that asset and you can lend it out and earn interest. And you can also borrow against it. So you might want to maybe borrow some stable coins and buy some NFTs on Rare Sama, or pay some bills in the real world, or do anything you want, really. Moonwell is an open lending and borrowing protocol. It connects borrowers to lenders in a trustless way. It's non-custodial and enables you to do more with the crypto that you already have. So let's just talk a little bit about the Moonwell community and what we've accomplished up until now. So we first launched the Moonwell Apollo protocol on Moonriver back in February of this year, quickly reached $350 million total value supplied, and it was really a phenomenal early success. We were blown away by the community response. We quickly became the largest app in the .sama ecosystem. Fast forward to March and April of this year, and the Lunar Technology Foundation raised about $25 million to help foster the development of the Moonwell protocol and its ecosystem. So many of the early contributors to Moonwell, myself included and others, have been in crypto for many years. We've been through multiple cycles, and we knew it was very important to raise enough funds to be able to keep building throughout the bear market cycle, because crypto goes through these cycles, bull and bear, and the Moonwell community really needs to be resilient enough to withstand any market conditions, and for the contributors in the ecosystem to continue building through the bear market. So, the Lunar Technology Foundation is well capitalized and is here to kind of foster that development and the growth of the ecosystem. Fast forward to June of this year, when Moonwell Artemis launched on Moonbeam. This is the big launch on Moonbeam, and we quickly reached $185 million total value supplied and over 7,500 active users. So it's been a phenomenal success, and we couldn't be more pleased with the response in the Moonbeam community. And then more recently, in August, we launched Moonwell Governance. And so I'm excited to kind of share more details about what the community has been working on over the last several months, and really give you a deep dive on Moonwell Governance, and also talk about Moonbeam Ignite and the liquidity campaign that is launching or has launched already on Moonbeam. So let's just jump right into and talk a little bit more about some of the contributors in the ecosystem. So first of all, I work for a company called Lunar Labs, and we're one of the key contributors to Moonwell. But there are many other companies contributing to Moonwell, and I wanted to just share some of them with you. So first of all, Gauntlet Network has been providing some amazing risk analysis. They've been doing data analysis, and they're able to look at all the on-chain data across the Moonbeam and Moonriver ecosystems. They're able to basically do simulations of market data using market data from on-chain, from Moonwell and other protocols like StellaSwap, and they're able to basically run these simulations to simulate market volatility and various other market conditions. So they can simulate what happens during, let's say, March 2020, when Bitcoin crashed to $3,500, and they can see how that might affect the various borrowing positions on the Moonwell protocol. Also wanted to give a shout out to the Benki team. They run a sister protocol on the Avalanche network. It's a lending protocol. And they gave us some really good guidance and advisory services, helped us launch in the early days, helped us launch in a safe and secure way. And so we wanted to give a shout out to them. Also, Rome Blockchain Labs provided some beautiful design and branding, and gave us the look and feel that you see in the front end to Moonwell today. So shout out to Rome Blockchain Labs for helping with the design and branding of Moonwell. And then on the Moonwell partner side, there are many other companies that the Moonwell community partners with, and other organizations like the Moonbeam Foundation. And Moonbeam has this interim grants process that allows the community, the Moonbeam community, to vote for governance grants. And through this grants process, StellaSwap, Moonwell, and many other teams have been able to apply for grants and have the Moonbeam community vote on them. And so this is the grants that process that has basically started Moonbeam Ignite. So thanks to the Moonbeam community and to the Moonbeam Foundation, both StellaSwap and Moonwell have now received generous grants to help build base liquidity in the ecosystem. We couldn't be more happy to be partnering with Moonbeam Foundation, and they've been a great partner, and they've really helped us to grow as a community. Also wanted to acknowledge Halborn Security. So the Moonwell community hired Halborn Security to perform security advisory and audits of all the Moonwell smart contracts. So every smart contract that is deployed that is part of the Moonwell ecosystem has been audited, in some cases multiple times, by Halborn. And so that provides that base level of security that we use to make sure the contracts are secure. In addition, they also provide security advisory, including cloud security audits for the Moonwell front end. We can also, we also need to make sure that the front end is secure and that all of the various components in the Moonwell ecosystem are secure. And so they've been a really valuable partner in helping us through a lot of, really interesting market events, and they've helped us navigate this and stay secure. Also want to acknowledge Immunify, which we've established a bug bounty program. This is very important because giving security researchers a path to do good research, submit vulnerabilities and findings through Immunify to our team so that we can patch those vulnerabilities and pay a bug bounty as opposed to having users lose funds is really important. And so that bug bounty program is in place with Immunify, and it gives security researchers a path to get paid for doing research and analysis of the Moonwell protocols and finding vulnerabilities and reporting them in a responsible way so they can be fixed before user funds are lost. Also, we've helped partner with Chainlink to bring Chainlink to Moonbeam. Chainlink provides some of the most accurate price feeds in all of crypto. And so they've brought their price feeds to Moonbeam so that Moonwell and other projects that need accurate price data for digital assets can build on top of the Chainlink price feeds. And the Moonwell protocol uses those Chainlink price feeds to know what is the accurate price or value of all the digital assets that are supplied or borrowed on the Moonwell protocol. This is extremely important so that we know exactly how much those assets are worth at all times, and that liquidations can happen efficiently if the assets start to lose value. And then finally, I just wanted to acknowledge Wormhole, who's recently arrived on Moonbeam in the last month or so. We've been partnering with Jump Crypto and the team at Wormhole to make sure that they're bringing, to help them bring the best assets from Solana and Ethereum and other Cosmos and other ecosystems to Moonbeam, so that we can bring liquidity from other ecosystems in. And also, Wormhole is not just a bridge, but also a message passing protocol as well. And so just like, you can kind of think of it as just like XCM enables parachains in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems to communicate with each other, Wormhole can allow Moonbeam to communicate with other ecosystems like Ethereum and Solana. So as you can see, there's actually a pretty robust partner ecosystem across all of the Moonwell community. It's not just Lunar Labs and the company I work for contributing. There's actually many contributors and partners that are a part of the Moonwell community that are helping to build this decentralized future that we're all a part of. What I want to talk about now is kind of Moonwell governance and how that all happens, and how do all of these various contributors to the Moonwell ecosystem participate and improve Moonwell over time. And so let's talk a little bit about how that works. So in the middle, you see this blue circle, and that represents the Moonwell protocol. The Moonwell protocol is a set of decentralized smart contracts on Moonbeam and Moonriver, and it basically connects lenders to borrowers in a trustless way. So lenders can supply their digital assets and borrowers can borrow them without having to trust each other. They only have to trust the protocol. So you see these lenders and borrowers here in the bottom circle that supply and borrow digital assets. Now, if you look at the Moonwell protocol, the smart contracts themselves have an administration function on the smart contracts. But it's really important for us that that in the Moonwell community, we build tools and infrastructure that can outlast any contributor to the ecosystem. So if you look at the contracts and you see who is the administrator of these contracts, you'll actually see that it's Moonwell Governance that administers a protocol. It's not one team, it's not my team, it's not any of the individual contributing teams, but it's actually Moonwell Governance that is the administrator of the Moonwell protocol, because it's really important that the Moonwell protocol and the Moonwell ecosystem outlast any individual contributing person or team. So the Moonwell Governance, it has the sole capability of governing and upgrading the protocol. Now the community, which are basically the well token holders, can both create and vote on proposals that do this, that govern and upgrade the protocol. And there's a proposal threshold. So you have to have a certain amount of well tokens to create a proposal. And then your proposal must receive a certain amount of votes, which we call a quorum, in order for it to pass. And then those votes must be a supermajority or more than 50% yes votes. But if you're able to create a proposal and get enough votes on it, you can change any aspect of the Moonwell protocol. And here's an example of one you can see on the right. This is a screenshot of the Moonwell Governance portal. This is proposal number 3, which is we call a Moonwell Improvement Proposal. And this is a risk parameter update that was submitted by Gauntlet. So Gauntlet makes the following recommendations to optimize risk and capital efficiency for Artemis. And so this proposal was voted in on it started voting on October 25th, and voting ended on October 28th, and it was executed and became active on October 29th. It received over 102 million votes from well token holders, and it met quorum, which was 100 million votes. So this governance gives the ability for the Moonwell community to upgrade the protocol, to change risk parameters, and to actually improve it over time, which is super important. And so let me talk a little bit about what are some of the primary capabilities that we launched when we launched on-chain governance as a community. So first of all, there's a forum for governance discussion. Now this is kind of important because as a community, we need a place to discuss new ideas and to communicate with each other, share ideas, talk about the benefits, the drawbacks to each of those ideas, and really debate and hash things out. And so you can expect impactful proposals to typically be talked about in the forum before they're put on chain for a vote. Now that's not always the case. If it's a simple parameter change or an update, it may not have a huge discussion. But if there's ever, a significant upgrade or a significant change, we typically want to discuss that as a community. And so this forum provides a nice place for us to do that. The forum is free and it's available to anyone online. You don't have to be a well token holder to participate. So this allows even Moonwell community and users themselves to share ideas and talk to each other. Now, alongside the forum, we have an off-chain voting mechanism. We call this signal voting. Now, sometimes there are times when you want to make a non-binding proposal. So this might be something like, do you want to be able to capture community sentiment around how many people are in favor of taking this action and upgrading this component of Moonwell, or how many people are opposed to it? We use Snapshot for this capability, and this allows anyone with enough well tokens to create a snapshot proposal and gain a signal about whether people are in favor or against a proposal. And with signal voting, we can actually do more than simply yes or no voting. We can actually do ranked choice voting. So we can ask the community to rank in order of preference, a list of items. And so it can be more than just yes, no, pass, fail in terms of voting preference. And so for impactful proposals or large changes to the Moonwell protocol, you can probably expect to see a signal vote first to gauge community sentiment for the change before it's made. And then finally, there's a full on-chain governance and a governance portal. So to make actual changes to the protocol on-chain, you can submit a proposal in one of two ways. Well, first, you can go directly to the contracts if you want to, and you can submit a proposal to the governor contract. Or you can use a governance portal that we've created that makes it more user-friendly to do so. And the governance portal actually has a grant and proposal generation tool. This is just version 1 of the tool, but we're pretty proud of what it accomplishes. So right now, today, you can go to gov.moonwell.fi and you can create a proposal. on-chain that does one of two things. It could be a custom proposal, right, which could include a risk parameter update or an upgrade to one of the smart contracts in Moonwell, or it could be requesting a grant. And I wanted to let the audience know that 10% of the Moonwell token supply, or 500 million Well tokens, have been allocated by the Lunar Technology Foundation for grants. Now, this is a pretty significant portion of the Well total supply, and it was allocated for the purpose of fostering the development and growth of the Moonwell ecosystem. So if you are a developer or a builder and you would like to build functionality to improve Moonwell or to help the Moonwell ecosystem in any way, you can apply for a grant here, or you can request a grant for the Moonwell DAO. You can put in a list of wallet addresses that are beneficiaries to the grant. And if the community votes for the grant and votes in favor of it, those tokens will be transferred to your wallet and you begin to spend them to build the tooling or the service that you'd like to build. So we think this is a really powerful tool that the Lunar Technology Foundation has created to help foster the growth of Moonwell as a community, and to give builders and other developers in the Moonbeam ecosystem the opportunity to build on top of Moonwell, because ultimately that's how these Web3 ecosystems and DeFi will flourish in Moonbeam. We have this opportunity, if you think of the basic DeFi primitives like Moonwell, like lending and borrowing, and like decentralized exchanges such as StellaSwap, if you think of these as money Legos or Lego building blocks that you can build your applications on top of, and other smart contracts that integrate with them, whether it's using Moonwell as a collateral asset or Moonwell assets as collateral in your project, or whether it's building additional functionality like new front ends or new ways of using Moonwell in a more user-friendly way. All of these improvements can be built by developers in the Moonbeam ecosystem, and we strongly encourage developers to come to our forums, chat about ideas you might have to improve Moonwell, and then submit a grant proposal to actually get paid and compensated to help build improvements to the Moonwell protocol. So I want to just talk a little bit more about the governance process, so you can just share with you kind of how it works a little bit. So first of all, when you create a proposal, it does require a minimum amount of Well tokens, and today that's 500,000 Well tokens are required to create a proposal. Now, you don't have to hold the tokens in your wallet. You can have them delegated to you. So if you don't have enough Well, you can probably find a Moonwell contributor or a community member in the forums. If they like your idea, they may delegate to you and give you enough to create a proposal of your own. But once you create a proposal, within a minute after creating the proposal, governance or voting becomes active. Now, in some DeFi ecosystems, there's a 24-hour delay to give the community time to discuss before the proposal becomes active. But in Moonwell, it's just 1 minute. And all of those parameters, like the time delay before a proposal goes up for active voting, all of those can be changed through governance itself as well. So today it's 1 minute, but if the community wanted to change this to a 24-hour delay to give more time for discussion, that could be done through governance itself. So once the proposal voting is active, that time period lasts for 3 days or 72 hours. Again, that's modifiable through governance. And this is the time period that the community can vote yes, no, or pass on the proposal and whether they would like it to succeed or not. So during the voting active period, Well token holders can come to the Gov portal and they can vote yes or no or pass on whether the proposal should succeed. If the proposal reaches quorum, meaning 100 million votes, currently as quorum, can be changed, of course, and it has a supermajority or more than 50% yes votes, the proposal will become succeeded at the end of the voting period time. If it doesn't reach quorum, or if it has less than 50% yes votes, it will be defeated and will not be executed. But if it succeeds, then it can be queued in the time lock. The time lock is another 24-hour delay just to give people time to change their positions or to react to the changes that the proposal makes. So for example, if the proposal reduced the loan to value for a specific collateral type, people that are borrowing against that collateral might need some time to maybe repay some of their loan or to add more collateral so that they don't get liquidated. And so this time lock is a pretty valuable time period because it gives the community time to react to changes to the protocol so that they don't get surprised. Otherwise, you might have to worry about if the proposal passes last minute. It might be too quickly. It might execute too quickly for you to take an action and change your positions. So all of these parameters and time periods are modifiable through governance itself. And the governor itself can actually be upgraded and replaced with a new process if the community wants to. So even the governor contract, which is a modified version of Compound's Governor Alpha, itself can be upgraded. And one example of that is that during Moonwell Apollo, when Moonwell Apollo governance launched, we were able to add an improvement that allows the quorum to float up and down, quorum meaning the amount of votes a proposal needs to have to pass. That proposal quorum can float up and down based on how many people vote for the past proposal. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how this works in the context of adding new markets or support for new digital assets to Moonwell, because one of the things that we're really excited about as a community is the addition of new wormhole assets and native tether that has just arrived on Polkadot. So these new wormhole assets have been coming to Moonbeam, and there's 4 main assets that are coming over. There is Ethereum and wrapped Bitcoin. There's also USD Coin and Binance USD. These 4 assets are starting to build liquidity on StellaSwap, and so it's likely that in the coming days and weeks, it will be safe to add them as collateral types on Moonwell. And so I wanted to let the community know that Gauntlet has put up a asset listing framework as a guide on our forum. And there's currently an active discussion in the community about whether we should adopt this asset listing framework as a safe way for the community to add support for new assets. So I'd encourage you to come discuss this asset listing framework. Let us know if you like it or don't like it, or what it could be improved about it. And it's likely that will go up for a signal vote in the coming days, so that the community can ratify that as a guide for adding new assets to Moonwell. And then second, I wanted to let the community know that we've just recently open sourced a market deployer tool. We should be announcing this on our forum and putting out some documentation next week. This is TypeScript tooling that basically allows anyone to deploy a Moonwell market and generate a governance proposal that would activate that market. And so this tooling allows us to basically, anyone in the community to create a proposal that would add support for a new market in a really efficient way using the same audited smart contracts that Halborn has audited. And then I wanted to mention that there's an MIP7 proposal up on chain that would allow the community to add markets in a decentralized way. So this proposal is already being discussed. Sorry, it's not on chain. It's already being discussed in the forums, and it would likely go on chain as soon as Gauntlet has let us know that it's safe to add support for that asset. Just a second, Nate. I thought I had 10 more minutes or 8 more minutes. Is that? Am I over time?
You are over time, sir. I'll give you 3 more minutes. And then
okay. All right. I'll try to rush through this. I thought I had 30 minutes. My apologies. Okay. All right. So I talked a little bit about how Gauntlet does risk management. I wanted to mention that they've generated these risk management dashboards that are available. You can get to them through our documentation. And that shows you all the recommendations they're currently making to modify parameters in the Moonwell protocol. And then I wanted to introduce Moonbeam Ignite. This is a liquidity campaign. It's a community-led effort to build liquidity on Moonbeam over the next 24 weeks, so almost 6 months, across Moonwell, StellaSwap, and many other ecosystem projects. So the Moonbeam Foundation has issued 12 million Glimmer in grants to these top projects in the Moonbeam ecosystem to help build the base level of liquidity on Moonbeam. And so I would encourage you to check out StellaSwap. The Moonwell community will be activating these new markets soon, it is likely, through governance. And so as a community, we can kind of start to rebuild the liquidity, the base level liquidity that's going to help other dApps in the Moonbeam ecosystem build on top of Moonwell and StellaSwap and other base level liquidity. And then just to close out, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why this matters. Why build all this decentralization, and why make it so that the governance process can actually govern Moonwell and not govern in a centralized way? And the reason for that is simply because as we think about the internet evolving from Web 2 to Web 3, we've all sort of experienced the Web 2 world that we live in today. For the last 10 to 15 years, a lot of the centralized applications we use on a daily basis, like Gmail from Google and like Facebook and Instagram, have provided a really good user experience, but they've centralized that data and the control of the applications with these large tech companies. And so as a user, you don't really control the data, and you have no ability to control how you access the system. You can get locked out of the system or lose access to your data if something bad happens. And so, we've all heard the saying, "Don't be evil," and that was a cute marketing slogan, but it really led to a broken promise. And we've seen that a lot of these Web 2 data monopolies have become evil in many ways. And I think the big difference with what we're trying to build in Web 3 is we're trying to build a system that can't be evil. You can bake it into the code that you can't be evil. So while you don't necessarily have to trust that you do have to trust in Web 2 that Google or Facebook won't be evil, but in Web 3, you can look at the contract code. You can see that it's audited and that the open source code is the same as what's on chain. And you can actually verify that the administration of those contracts is done through governance code, which is also audited and open sourced and available on chain. And so through this, you're able to minimize trust. You don't have to trust a centralized entity. I think during the events of last week with FTX and FTT and Alameda have just reinforced how important this is. We shouldn't have to trust these centralized actors that they won't be evil. We should basically build new systems that are resilient and can't be evil. And so with that, I just want to thank everyone for the time today, and to encourage everyone to just go to moonwell.fi or find us on Twitter or Discord and learn more about how you can get involved in the Moonwell community and participate in Moonwell Governance. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Luke. It resonates very strongly with me right now in terms of can't be evil. Whether things that have happened in the past week were evil or not, anytime there's human intervention, that can lead to issues. So, all right, cool. Thanks again, Luke.